All right, welcome. Tonight we are going to cover the strategic strength. We're going to talk about what is sacred about it, and we are going to talk about how this strength can go sinister. And this is a kind of an interesting strength for me to cover. And the reason for that is this is my number 34 strength. This is my absolute shadow of shadow strengths. Number 34 out of 34. Now, for my wife, Kim, this is her number 2. So this is extremely sacred to Kim. And not only that, of course, the strategic strength, what domain does it fall under? Strategic thinking, right? This is the only strength that kind of shares a name with its domain. And I think that's very telling about this particular strength because this particular strength really kind of epitomizes the strategic thinking domain. I think this is kind of the the head honcho, so to speak, of the strategic thinking domain. So just as a point of clarification, a lot of times people can get confused. Are we talking about a domain or are we talking about the strength? If I say the word strategic, I'm talking about the strength. If I say strategic thinking, I'm talking about the domain. That's the best way to differentiate those. So I'm giving you that clue right now. I struggle a little bit. Sometimes I want to think to myself, Gallup, could you have not come up with a unique name for either the strength or for the domain, so that it would be less confusing? But they didn't, so we'll move on from there. So anyway, my number 34 strength, Kim's number 2 strength. So before I did this video, I kind of did a quick interview with Kim. I wanted to get her thoughts on this because she is the expert, definitely in this house and in our business, on this particular strength. And I would be doing a huge disservice if I did not first talk to her and get her mindset on this. And so she gave me some great information that I'm excited to share with you and incorporate into this particular video. So, all right, we know where I stand on this one. We know where Kim stands on it. We know what the domain is. So let's talk about what is sacred about the strategic strength. Strategic strength I see as these people with strategic high. They gather a great deal of information and they use it to plan multiple possible outcomes, multiple possible directions to take. So as they're gathering this data, they're able to say, I can use this way, I can use this over here, and anytime that a better way shows up, or maybe the path they were taking, a new obstacle shows up or something, they are able to pivot. Okay, so they're able to change directions on a dime because they've got multiple possible outcomes. They got multiple possible paths that they can take. And that is really one of the biggest the most powerful things about the strategic strength. Is you have multiple paths you can take. You're never really out of options. And that is what I think is so cool about this and so very sacred about it. Kim used the analogy, if you've ever seen the movie Armageddon, and this is a movie where there's an asteroid, coming. It's going to collide with Earth and destroy all of humanity. And Bruce Willis and this group of oil digging, drilling guys, NASA sends them up, lands them on the asteroid, and they have to drill down deep into this asteroid, really far down into the center of it, put some explosives and blow the thing up before it gets too close to Earth. Okay, so that's the gist of the movie. So I have intellect, and so my intellect is kind of like that. My intellect, my intellection strength is all about going deep. It's all about, going as deep as I can in that subject. Strategic thinkers, they do go deep, but they're approaching it from a wide area. They're approaching it from many different areas. So as where I would say, well, I got to dig a hole right here and go as deep as I can into that asteroid. The strategic thinker is going to say, well, we're going to do that, and we're going to do this, and we're going to dig a hole over here, and we're going to plant some explosives over here too, and we're going to do this, and that way, if one thing starts not working out, we can shift over to this other thing, or we can do them all at once. That's what they do. So strategic thinkers create or see patterns, they see relationships with things that others miss. They see the connections often on how things can work together that others, like myself, are probably not going to see. Again, this is my 34 strength. I guarantee you, if there's somebody's going to miss this connection, in this particular way, it's probably going to be me. And I lean very heavily into Kim on this. I need her strategic so much as we're growing and developing, because she sees things in a way that I don't see them. She connects things in a way. It's like she can see the whole. If you imagine. Like a game board, she sees the whole board in front of her. I kind of compartmentalize. I kind of see, if I were playing chess, I'm going to look at this piece, and then I don't really see how that relates to this piece over here. I'm too busy focusing on this piece. I'm not particularly good at chess, so that may be why. But Kim and people with high strategic strength are able to see the whole board. They're able to see multiple scenarios. The funny thing is, Kim doesn't like to work with spreadsheets, but I think, a spreadsheet can go as long, it can go as wide, however you want to do it. The columns are endless and the rows are endless. And so as you're thinking about that, this kind of a grid, or this kind of a board game or something, strategic thinkers, these people with high strategic strength, they're able to see multiple relationships on that board, how things are going to interact with one another. And because of that, they're able to pivot to get the outcome that they desire. And so that is what is so incredibly sacred about this strength. It's a very, I think of it as a very proactive strength, because it's always focused on kind of the next, the next direction that has to be taken. Strategy, right? Strategy is all about moving forward. It's all about, achieving a goal or moving closer towards a goal. That is what strategy is. So if you have strategic high, this should make sense to you. I hope that it does. So let's talk about the sinister side. And I did ask him about this. I said, and I kind of blindsided her with this a little bit. I think, I said, I want to ask you a question. What do you see is the sinister side of strategic? And the immediate response was overthinking. Okay, and I get that. Overthinking. The question is, when does it become overthinking? When does thinking become overthinking? And overthinking happens when the exercise of coming up with the multiple outcomes, or that level of analysis and that level of planning, becomes more important than achieving the desired end goal. Okay, so when the exercise of thinking is just for thinking's sake, that's when things are starting to go sinister. Now, it can go much more sinister than that. And again, this is coming from Kim, and I think she has wonderful insight on this. The point again of the strategic strength is to move towards a desirable outcome, to think through all these different processes, think through all these different relationships, to make sense of all this scattered data out there, and to put it into some kind of a working order that you can make something happen. Where this breaks down is if that view of this board, this game board that we're looking at, this big grid that we're looking at, if that view gets clouded, that's when things are going to get very sinister, because at that point, the strategic strength is no longer going to serve you. You have to have a clear view of the board in order to be able to see all the intricacies and to be able to make sense of them. So, what can cause your view to get clouded? 3 very important things. One is self-serving. By doing things that are self-serving, you're looking more inward, and you're not looking at the board. You're not looking at what's in front of you that you can get the greatest result from. Self-preservation is another one. And then also self-sabotaging. So these are all 3 things, all focused on self, where all this energy and all this attention is going inward as opposed to analyzing what's out in front of you. So if you're clouding your view, if you're clouding your view of this board here and all these possibilities that you have by saying, well, what's going to give me, what's going to keep me safe, or what's going to keep me from getting hurt, or or the self-sabotaging aspect of that. If you are focusing on yourself and how this is going to impact you, you're not really using this strength. You are not putting it to good use. And that is where this can get very sinister. That's when all of this energy, all of this intellectual energy here that you have, this strategic energy that you're supposed to be putting out there in front of you, in front of the world, and creating all this for you and for everyone else, when you bring all that back inward, that's when things have really gone sinister. So how do you keep from doing that? The best way to keep from doing that is by remembering the purpose of this strength. Remembering the purpose of strategic is to help you create multiple pathways and evaluate them to know the best pathway to get to an end result. If you are not focusing on that, then chances are your view could get clouded. So check your self-preservation and your self-serving ideas at the door. Check those, put those away somewhere, because they are not going to serve you as you're using your strategic strength. You have to have a clear view of what's in front of you, and you cannot do that if you're caught up in whatever it is that that may be preventing you from seeing very clearly. So do the work you need to do to be able to use this strength for the betterment of everyone, and don't try to use it as something that's going to keep you safe or in any kind of a selfish way. That is where this goes very sinister. All right, I think that's all we need to say right now for the strategic strength. Thank you so much for watching. We've only got one more video to do, and I'll probably get that done within the next 24 hours. That's my plan. And that strength is going to be the woo strength. So buckle your seatbelts for that one. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all. Give me your feedback. Give me your thoughts on this. And until I see you next time, remember, inspiration starts here.